If you think America's two-party system is dysfunctional, then you're in the right place. Good morning, and welcome to Coffee with Art. My name's Art Rude, and every weekday morning I try to do a video that I hope will encourage discussion. I love a good discussion, and I hate the partisan arguing, the back and forth between the Democrats and the Republicans. I don't respect them because they're pulling our country apart. And I really feel we need to have a discussion, a conversation about how to end the two-party debacle. Um, and so, this is my book, Political Cocaine: How America Got Hooked on the Two-Party System and How to Intervene. So I really hope you'll consider that. And as discussed earlier, there's no basis in law for any authority for the political parties at all in the Constitution. The first presidents warned against them. They have no basis in law. Here's where their power comes from: the human brain. You know, the human brain is amazing. I taught school for a long time, and I've had a fascination with the human brain for a long time. So I'm no brain scientist, but what I'm trying to do is give people enough information and make it understandable enough so they'll be interested to go out and learning more. Because this is called the 3-pound universe. It's the most complicated structure known to man. So if you don't understand how it works, that is understandable. But let's try to understand it. So that's what I'm trying to encourage. So, um, because that's where the power of the political powers come from, political parties rather come from, and also this is where addiction comes from. And I literally believe that it's a political addiction. So that's why it's important that you understand something about how it works. Now, brain cells look very different than I always thought about brain cells before, or about cells in general. I always thought of them as rectangular. No, these they got branches going all over. The dendrites surround the part where the nucleus is, and down here this is the axon and the axon terminals. But here's the thing now: when we're born as humans, very few of these brain cells are connected. Um, we have the best estimates, or most popular estimates, I should say, I don't know if they're the best, 100 billion brain cells at birth, and very few of them are connected. I use asterisk to represent the brain cells, so they're not connected. Most of them. Human babies can do very little at birth, but if you compare that to, for instance, an antelope, antelopes have much smaller brains than humans do. However, at birth, a much higher percentage of the brain cells are connected because that antelope has to be able to get up and run, or he's going to be somebody else's lunch. Okay, so human babies are born actually very few things connected. They can't do that much. They have to learn everything. That's why it's so important that they be nurtured at a young age. They're basically defenseless. But as they grow, what happens? These brain cells make connections. That's what happens anytime you learn. Okay, I talked about that in yesterday's video, but here's the thing is, if things aren't used, the brain goes around and says this is not important information. That's why you got to practice things, or if it's important to you, you're going to be thinking about it all the time, and that'll remain active. So you can trick your brain into learning things by repeating, is the point of that. Okay, but here's the deal. Even when these are connected, they're not connected. Now, what I mean is normally when people think about connections, at least I do, it's electrical connection, like when two wires go together, right? You make a connection, and then you can connect that with, solder the two wires together, or you can wrap them together. But the point is, there's a definite connection. Well, no, that's not the way it is with brain cells. And this is really one of the most significant lessons learned about the neurons, is at every one of those connections, when you look under high magnification, you'll see there's a tiny little space between the two cells. So they are not directly connected. This little space is called the synapse. And so the impulse comes down the axon, and it has to release these chemicals to go across the synapse, and they have to fit into the receptors on the other side. And that's true in every one of those brain cells in your brain, and it's actually even true for the neurons that are located in your actual nerves. So you have to have these chemicals. We are chemical computers, people. And so these chemicals that go across the space, I guess I could leave the visual up here. These chemicals that go across the space are called neurotransmitters. And probably, and now there's many different forms of neurotransmitters. Scientists feel there may be over 500 different forms of neurotransmitters. Not all of them have even been identified yet, but most of the main ones have. Because in different areas of the brain, you have different neurotransmitters. They have different functions. But that's why I'm trying to get everybody to understand the basic process before you go to those specific areas of geography. So you have these neurotransmitters, and probably the most significant for human behavior are the endogenous opiates. That's right, opiates. You have drugs in your brain. The endogenous opiates. They're meant to reward behavior. When we sexually reproduce, there's a good feeling that goes along with it. Well, that's a pure shot of heroin on the brain. Okay? Your brain is rewarding you for propagating the species. That's the way it works. So why are drugs so effective? They plug into that reward mechanism. Now, what happens is when somebody is a true hardcore partisan, I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican or any other partisan type of thing, if you identify so strong with some type of a point of view, your brain interprets that as being important to your survival. So it incorporates all the facts that reproduce, that reinforce that point of view. That's what's automatically going to be taken in by the brain. And then when your side wins, you're going to get a shot of those endorphins, those endogenous opiates, and you're going to get a good feeling. And yes, I truthfully believe you can get hooked on your endogenous opiates. There have been many studies in different things. So when you see somebody, they're hooked on their phone, yeah, they're getting their jollies, they're getting their endorphins. All right. Well, I hope you've learned something about the brain and have something to discuss. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Remember that your brain is wonderful. So I hope you'll learn more about it. And remember that every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present. So I hope you unwrap that present carefully because there's good stuff in there for you today. I hope you have a good day, a wonderful discussion, and take a whack at that big old two-party tree. We got to bring that sucker down. Have a great day.